Hey, this is Kirk.
And this is Byrd. It's the Kirk and Byrd Show and another Rusty Bird episode because I got two of my boys on. So Kirk will just be driving while I'm really just having fun. All right. So look, and
hey y'all, I'll be back. I'm gonna go watch the preview for the NCAA tournament
while I do this with my boys from my Denbigh years. And but for real, we got Marcus Mickel and Lee Martin, two legends in Denbigh Patriot basketball and football. But I really wanted to highlight those tremendous years in the mid to late 80s with Denbigh basketball, and nobody better than two guys I really know. Welcome to the show, Marcus and Lee.
Thanks for having us, guys.
Oh yeah. So to get started, first, I do want to say this. We're recording this while Virginia Tech is still in the tournament. I'm very proud. You see, I was bitter that my Rams didn't get in. So I'm rocking my Virginia Tech hat,
right.
But congratulations to the Hokies on winning the ACC. And so right now, I'm actually those are the guys I'm pulling for to win it all. Keep it in the state.
Yeah,
so look, what's up, guys? What have y'all been up to? Let's start with you, Lee. Because Marcus has been on the show. Let's start, Lee. What have you been up to over the years, bro?
Well, the last 15 years, I've been an athletic director in the Peninsula District. So I was 8 years with Kecoughtan High School, and the last 7 I've been at your alma mater, the Bethel High School Bruins.
That's right.
It's my 7th year there, so I've been pretty wrapped up with all that goes on with that.
Man.
Man, okay.
Lee, you've had some really good athletes between those two schools also.
Yeah, we've had some professional athletes come out at both schools. Gerard Mayo came out of Kecoughtan, had a great career. He's embarking on a nice coaching career in the NFL right now. Ricardo Ratliff was the state player of the year, I want to say 2007. And he's been a professional basketball player in Korea and has been like the MVP. He's their all-time leading rebounder in the Korean League. Jeremiah Wusu Koromoa, he just came out of Bethel in 17.
J.O.
Notre Dame.
Right.
Yeah.
J.O.K., baby. And he was one of the two all NFL rookie linebackers this year. So big things ahead for him. So, yeah, I've been blessed, man, at those two schools to watch high-level athletes. So it makes my job fun.
Yep.
Oh yeah. Oh, no doubt.
You still live in Denbigh area of Newport News, so that's a pretty easy commute, isn't it?
Oh, to Bethel, it's easy. I mean, when you get on the interstate, you hop right off at Hampton Road Center Parkway. Maybe 20 minutes from my house to pulling into the parking lot.
Yeah,
Kecoughtan was a little further. There's no easy way to get to Kecoughtan. There's I know. There's like 3 or 4 different ways to get down there, but they're all going to take you the same amount of time. So,
now, Marcus, we had you on before. You're down in North Carolina. Catch everybody up from the 757 in Blacksburg, Hokie Land. What you're up to?
Well, it's just like you said. I'm still teaching. I teach the littles, as they call it, 5th grade, and so still doing a little, personal training on the side. Actually, I just made it home from getting in I got about 50 shots in. Get some shots in, but I was helping the young man with getting them ready for next year, the following year, basketball. So I was in the gym with him, and now it's a lot of passing, heckling.
Where are you in North Carolina? You told us before.
Garner.
Okay.
Yep, Garner.
Okay.
And it's truly a basketball state, and if you want to, it's definitely a basketball state. Everybody down here can play basketball for real. I mean, I was in the gym just now. 2 young ladies was like trying to challenge me and to get me and my buddy. I got bad knees. Bad knees. But yeah, I've been truly blessed to see a lot of people out here. I'm right around the corner. At some of the kids that I teach, their parents interact with Duke and North Carolina and NC State. And then Coach Wiley's at NC State, buddy of mine, and I get to interact with the players and see the guys all the time. So it's really different for me having grown up where we grew up. I mean, those guys are out about all the time.
Yep.
So I'll say this. I went with asking what you're doing now to get it out of the way. Because y'all are doing great stuff. First of all, you're working with kids, you're educating people, and that is wonderful. That's great. But I'm here to talk about back in the day when y'all was just straight ballers. Okay. And I'm saying that because for the kids today who are going to see this, some of your students, some of your former players, I want them to know that y'all was straight legit, real ballers. So let's go back to where it all started. Y'all known each other since you were what, 6, 7 years old? Tell us, let's start out, okay, what sports did you play? Because you might be known for different things. How did you start and what positions did you play? I'll give you an example. I first played football, I played center. And I was one of the kids go, hey, coach, can I be a running back? Can I be a running back? Like, no. So you know what? And actually that was Kevin Brown's dad, Coach Brown, who's the ACC basketball official. Coach Brown, I ran over Kecoughtan in high school, just so you know. I should have been toting a rock. You was giving it to Mike Alexander. So tell me, guys, tell me about some of your sports background. I know both of you personally because y'all were definitely my dog. Marcus and I went to the same church from 7th grade all the way till I graduated. And then Lee, we went to middle school, 7th, 8th, genuinely one of my best friends. And I remember my last day with Reservoir Middle School. We went on a field trip. Oh, I'll save that story. I'll save that story for a little bit later. Go ahead, Go ahead. Tell us about you guys.
Well, I grew up playing the 3 major sports: football, baseball, basketball. I wish golf was, a thing back then, but golf wasn't cool when we grew up.
I know.
Nobody played golf.
Tiger
made golf cool. But I played the 3 majors. Marcus and I played football together right away. We played 5 or 6 straight years together. We were both running backs. I think one year I may have played split end, but I know when we were young, we ran something kind of similar to the wishbone. And we had 3. We had Todd Parrish was our fullback, and Marcus and I were
Todd, yeah.
Yeah, and Steve Sanford was
his
our
dad
quarterback.
Works up here. Okay.
So we had a real backfield, man. And but Marcus and I were never on the same basketball team. I played for the 76ers. We talking about over at Epps. Marcus played for the Knicks. Yep. But what I remember, I mean, other than Marcus in football was, first of all, Marcus was almost full. He was so big already.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Full grown. He was so grown. He was a head taller than everybody else, had big thighs already. So, basketball, he had guard skills, but he jumped center and played, we all had to catch up to him. So we always, Marcus, you remember this? We played the Knicks. And Marcus had to miss the first half or something. He had an appointment or something. And we were giving it to him because they really had nothing other than Marcus, right? So we're in me and Steve Sanford in the backcourt, we're balling. All of a sudden the door flies open and you hear Marcus yell. He said, "Let's go, guys." I mean, all the parents are looking at us, and of course I'm like, oh, snap. Marcus is back. But I think we held on and actually won, but Marcus made it real interesting in the second half. So,
but we went on to win the tournament. And they had on his team, let me tell you, on his team, Lee had a stacked team. I couldn't believe that. And, this is when Troy Wright was playing. This is Troy Wright when
Mark C. Wright was playing.
Yeah. But they had on his team, we talked about, y'all had who else was on your team, Lee?
I think we had Baird.
Baird Kilpatrick.
Who was, you talking about you were grown. Baird was
a man.
He was a head taller than me.
He was huge. One of our best players was Kathy Olson.
Mr. Kilpatrick.
The female Kathy Olson, who played
yeah.
at Denbigh.
Right.
She was one of our best players.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. It was stacked.
Yeah, it was fun.
Man. So what?
Bo Kelly, did Bo play on your team?
Both played on a different team.
Oh,
Bo, but I remember Bo was one of my best friends back then. And Bo was my boy. I remember Bo's arch nemesis to us was Marcus, and we because we used to be like we play because we lived in Court Arts and we used to play basketball all the time. And Marcus always beat Bo. We used to be like, Bo, come on! And I remember going. We went to watch y'all play one time, and I don't know if y'all were in the 6th or 7th grade, but the goals, I don't even think they were low. They weren't even like at the 10 foot or something. At least maybe that's what I'm thinking. But I remember Marcus being so much bigger. I felt like he dunked in one of those games, man, and like 6th grade on the logo. Yeah, I played for the Capitals in the game, man. We were like, oh, and I tell people this, man, and this is no joke. And Lee, before Allen Iverson, I'm telling you, before Allen Iverson, Marcus Mickel was the man, the legend. Like, he could do it all. He could play baseball, he could run track, he could, and football, basketball, like, could do it all. No joke. We was all, if Marcus is playing, hey, go on it.
Yeah, Marcus was, and I remember, and I didn't play, actually, I'm gonna tell y'all, I was probably a more natural baseball player, but I love basketball and football. And when I got into 7th grade and fell in love with basketball, that's all she wrote. I just knew I was going to play point guard for UNC one day, which that didn't happen. But in baseball, we had a muscular dystrophy tournament or something out in Phoebus. And I had never seen Marcus play baseball before. He was playing for, I guess, Denbigh, or I played over in Rich Neck. But, man, Marcus hit a ball over center field so hard, and I was like, everybody just kind of stood there. Nobody even, you know when you hit a home run and you're not even running, you just look at it and watch it go. So yeah, Marcus had that different strength, that young at a young age. So yeah, for all 3 sports. So, but yeah, I saw him play all 3. We were blessed to be teammates in football, and then come around to Denbigh to play together. With Denbigh in high school.
Yep.
And so much fun. I mean,
man.
The whole culture of our group, when you named all of them earlier, man, when you talk about the older group that actually set that with Brian Darden and John Waters, Darren Carter, Mike Scott.
Darren Carter, yeah, man.
I mean, that group, that's the group.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say that's the group that when we went to the regionals, well, we won. We came out of, I wouldn't say nowhere, but we kind of did. We came out of nowhere and won the regular season.
Yeah.
Won the Christmas tournament.
Won the district tournament.
We won the district tournament.
Who does that now? Hey.
What year were you? What year is that?
That's 85, 86.
85, 86.
Oh,
and you know what? I was there. Back then, it was the Fort Eustis Christmas tournament, right?
Yep.
And bro, I was there. So Darren Carter was standing in that left corner. And bro, if they had a 3-point line back then,
right?
Yo, first of all, that's just him, but your whole team, y'all would have won the state championship, bro.
With a 3-point line.
With a
3-point line.
With a 3-point line.
We the won state that year. I mean, we just had so many guys that could shoot it.
Yeah.
And we had guys like Brian Darden, man. Brian Darden he played the guard at the apprentice school.
Right.
But
he was our center.
He was in the post for us and battling Alonzo Mourning and JR Reid.
Yeah.
And so I would take just to add to what Lee was saying, I was talking to Kay the other day, and Kay called me and said, Marcus, guess what? I just saw you on TV. I said, Kay, what you talking about, Kay? He said, yeah, I'm on the ACC channel, and they're sitting here talking about Duke versus Carolina and Krzyzewski, how he started versus Dean Smith back in the day. Mm-hmm. All right. And he said, Marcus, they remember Coach K won the battle for Danny Ferry.
Yep.
And then that meant Dean Smith had to win the battle. He won the battle for who? JR Reid.
JR Reid.
Right. And then they showed JR Reid's last home game, his last high school game.
I was
And
there.
that was against us.
Were you a green run, Kirk?
It was at Frank Cox.
Right, at Cox. And they showed him, and Kay said, hey, Marcus, they showed you.
Yep.
Then they showed JR Reid dunking on us. But they never said that we won the game.
Hey, Kirk, that game, when we beat Kempsville, that was at Green Run.
Yeah,
Oh, was it Green Run?
It was
that was at Green
Run.
Run.
My
Boo Williams
parents drove out there.
Yeah. So real quick, I want to frame this because back in our day, Newport News, you guys call it Newport News, was king.
Newport News. In basketball.
Yeah.
No question back then.
Our coach used to say, Newport News ball players are special. Y'all were tougher, etc. And, you had Ferguson, you had Denbigh was incredible.
Lionel Miller.
Mitch,
Lonnie Miller, Peanut Richardson, all
David Pope, and
Menchville.
David Pope, Tweety Bird.
Yep.
Mike Smith.
Coach Pitts.
Alfred Robinson.
Right.
Man.
Troy Wright.
Boy, right.
I do remember that game.
Anthony Solomon was my favorite player growing up, man.
Slow used to come and help and work me and Lee out.
What, man? I went
Slow
to
would come and work me and Lee out with Coach K every now and then because him and Coach K was boys.
Yeah.
My mom was a teacher at Ferguson, and we went to see Warwick against Ferguson at Ferguson.
What a game.
Standing room only. Solomon versus Lonnie Miller, and Miller was dunking and Solomon just hitting again. Didn't have a 3-point line back then, but it was the most exciting high school game I've ever seen.
Lonnie Miller was a 6'5" point guard.
Yeah,
6'5".
You know who he reminded me of? I used to tell people when I went away I said Lonnie Miller was Derek Coleman. His game, the way he would hit that jump at the top of the key.
That's why he lost that game against Booker T because he got too fancy and he missed the boom dunk.
Yeah.
I remember.
Right, that was crazy. The crazy that he would even try that in a game.
Right, he tried it in the championship game. I said, man, and he missed it.
But going back to that game, Marcus and Lee, for some, I forgot it was a Green Run, but I do remember you guys didn't have a player over 6'3". I don't think you had a 6'4" guy, right?
6'2", maybe.
Yeah.
What was Joe?
6'2".
Right.
Joe was one of the taller ones, right?
Right.
Yeah. Joe Bolden.
Yeah. So there was Darden and was Littleton. Did he still have a Jerry Curl?
Littleton. He had the Ice Cube Jerry Curl.
Okay, all right. Yeah. But Marcus, do you remember?
Joe had the Gumby.
Yeah.
Gumby.
Had the Gumby.
But you guys were so guard oriented that their guards were so bad. Do you remember JR was bringing the ball up every time? He was the best guard.
He broke the press.
The head, man. Their guards couldn't bring the ball up.
He broke the press.
JR had to bring it up. And then he went over Darren Carter's head and then dunked on Brian on the break. I was like, ruh-roh. JR was the truth.
No doubt. For the people don't understand.
But before JR could get to half court, we had already scored. We scored already. That's why he was able to break the press, because he never made it to half. By the time he scored, we didn't already scored on them again because we were that fast.
But you know what helped? What helped us was JR fouling out, obviously, with about
46
minutes left. And he had 44 for
46, 44, I think. Yeah.
I never seen that in person. I never seen nobody score like that. But him at the time being the number one player in the nation.
Good. I was going to say number one player in the nation. That's right.
And of course, then we had to turn around, and that was awesome. I mean, that was the first round. So then the second round, because everybody was looking for a JR Alonzo matchup.
Right.
Then we got to see Alonzo, who's the number one sophomore in the nation.
Number one sophomore.
Sophomore, that's right.
6'10", and I'll be honest, we beat them in overtime, and he screwed up and traveled. He tried to do a backwards dunk on the break by himself and ended up traveling, which gave us another chance to score and put it into overtime.
Yep.
And then we had an out of bounds play at the buzzer. Joel, we had Darren flaring to the corner for a play for a shot. And Joel set the screen and rolled and was wide open.
Right underneath the basket.
Threw it to him. He lays it in at the buzzer, and we knocked them. We knocked them back to back. 2 All-Americans.
Back to back.
Phoebus did the same thing the year before. They had JR. There it goes, Lee. We played JR Frank Cox. Held him to 6 points. And then on Friday night, Rusty, you and I were talking about this. I don't think Woodrow Wilson is around anymore, but we played Alonzo Woodrow Wilson, beat him. And then, I think this is a commonality, we played Booker T at Norfolk State. Did y'all play Booker T next?
We played Booker T.
They got us twice. You said they beat the Pillars of the district team twice.
Booker T got us, right after we beat Kempsville and Indian River. We hosted them at Ferguson. And of course, they were coming off a state. They were the defending state champs.
Yeah, state champs. That's right. That's right.
And they got us by a single digit.
Shut down
6 points or something. It was a close game.
Yeah,
but they went on to win state.
Man. Big boy Plug, this boys down.
Plug Mountain. Yep.
We didn't have none for Plug, man. 6'6", 250. We didn't have none for him.
Kickatam played them, I think, in the first round over at Maury. I remember that game. That was Billy Coles, Kevin Brown, but
Ray Washington.
Ray Washington, yeah.
Yep, Ray Washington.
So y'all are talking about some true ball. And I just want to go back to one of the points, because what you're saying about Newport News, it was basketball, and Hampton was football, was straight up true. I remember moving from Newport News to Hampton. But I remember first living in Hampton, and we played football all the time. We just played in people's yards. But in Denbigh, man, we played basketball every day. Every day. At Courthouse Green, we would play at Reservoir in the morning before school, after school, at lunch. Basketball. Bruh, Newport News it was their thing. They had ballers.
You know what helped us too, Rusty? Was we were able to go, and Marcus knows this, I don't know how many times on the weekends I went to Fort Eustis and played against adults, man. We played against Army guys. Yep. And we were in high school holding our own with these these Army guys. That had to help us. It taught us toughness. The skill level had to get up. So that was a big thing for us in the area. Like you said, we played football too, but basketball was the thing to do year round around here.
Oh yeah, no doubt. But since you brought that up, I do want to talk a little bit about football, because you guys, Denbigh wasn't that strong in football, but then you guys kind of brought it into an era. I remember this. In 10th grade, JV, Marcus was a freshman playing JV. Lee, were you on that JV team in 10th grade?
Rusty, when I got to high school,
he didn't play no more
I got tunnel vision for basketball, man.
I was begging him to come out.
I gave up
playing on me. I would beg him every year. Him and Joe.
You never played.
And Joe.
Me and Joe never played football.
Football with me. If they would have played football with me, I would have been able to play the running back again. And Lee would have been the receiver. Joe would have been the quarterback. And then I would have been the running back. And then we would have had a great team again.
I agree.
But they jumped out.
Let me tell y'all something. Lee was my boy. And we played basketball. We played football at lunch and stuff. But I will never forget going to see Lee and Marcus with y'all playing against my brother Stanford. I was like, straight up, I was like, who is that brother, that light-skinned brother toting the rock? It was Lee. That had flair, rhythm, the way he toted the rock, y'all. No joke. He was Christian McCaffrey before Christian McCaffrey. I'm telling you, man. Early. I'm telling you, y'all were unbelievable backfield, man. I was good, man, because y'all was playing my brother and y'all were winning championships. Y'all was big. Hey, look, let's tell the people out here who don't know some of the teams you used to play against. Well, you're playing a team called World War II. Okay? like from the bottom. You know, people thought kids in Denbigh was soft. No, man. When you're playing, what was it?
Park View.
Parkview.
Hold on. I got one for Kirk.
What?
Fox Hill.
Fox Hill?
Yeah, boy. Going up down there. Remember that, Lee? Going down in that little, y'all had the little, it looked like a little Indian thing out there with the fence there, man. It was eerie going to play Fox Hill, boy, back there in the woods.
Fox Hill.
So when you play in the Hampton
where we
League,
going back, man? And then they had it, and you get back into yeah, that was Fox Hill.
So look, when I was playing for Sanford in 8th grade, we were scrimmaging Pocosin. Now, y'all know what Pocosin's like, okay? So we played them, and then, you know, our team was mixed, black, white, whatever. And I think, you know, in that scrimmage, I scored about, I was playing the slot. I think I scored like 3 touchdowns on a reverse or whatever. But after the game, we're going through the line, and this one young man said, you know something? You're the best football player I ever seen. His dad was beside him, hit him upside the head. Say, don't you ever say that to them. But man, those were the days. And so I go back to that 10th grade year when I played JV for Bethel. And that team y'all had, Marcus, when you were the quarterback, I think y'all averaged about 40 points a game. Didn't y'all go undefeated and crush everybody? But that was a sign. That was a sign. But 2 years later, when y'all, I think, had one of the best seasons in Denbigh football history. Is that correct?
Well, the year following year, I think I had left. I was gone.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was gone, and then the following year, I think for 2 or 3 years they had a real good run because I was with those were the guys we raised, Lee. That's
you talking about Mike
Tomlin,
and Billy
Johnson.
Billy Johnson.
That was them. They came up under us, and we kind of like they were tough too with football.
They were tough, man.
Yeah, because we were. Yeah. I mean, Lee just left the game. If Lee had stayed with the game, we still would have been right there. If Lee and Joel had stayed in the game after our basketball team with Kevin. Yeah. Kevin was a great.
Kevin was bad too.
Kevin was an awesome Jones player.
Let me tell you, I remember Kevin finally play like his senior year or something?
He played like
Kevin got recruited by Michigan State as a receiver.
Kevin was a beast, man. A beast in ball. And I was just like,
he just didn't want to play football. How do you get recruited by Michigan State? They were right there, so we wanted.
He was such a great athlete. And that goes back to, again, the talent y'all had at Denbigh.
Were All-Americans. So they were McDonald All-Americans, right, Lee? Joel and Kevin were McDonald All-Americans.
They were nominated.
That's right. Y'all had so much talent, man. And I tell people this, I don't know how many games you, Lee, or Bo Kelly actually got to start, but I was telling Kirk before in high school, I said, y'all two would have been all district at another school, starters, because y'all had game, man. But the whole squad, it was just so much talent. So much talent.
We were guard heavy, man. And my senior year, you know, my senior year, Marcus' junior years was the first time, and Kirk may remember it, they expanded the state tournament to include both of the regional finalists. Yeah. So we actually lost to Alonzo and them the next year in the regional championship game, but we still qualified for state. And then we went to state. We upset Hopewell in the quarterfinal. They were the number 1 team in the state that year.
Yeah.
And then we lost.
Robinson.
We should have never lost to Robinson. I'm going to leave that alone. But but that whole year I was the third guard, and I would come in. We had like a 3-man rotation between Kevin, Marcus, and me. So I would go in for whoever tired out first, and then we would rotate that way. So
y'all kept it coming, man.
He put it nice. Sometimes he would start, and I would sit, or either I would go to the 4-man. I would play the big man back then. You know, when we would
you did. I remember that. Yeah.
We would go 3, me, him, Joe, and Kevin, and maybe Brian Dart or no Donnie Littleton. Was it Donnie Littleton?
It was Littleton.
And Littleton.
Johnny Littleton
would be like that. And
gracious.
Man. Who was that tight end from Hopewell for Virginia Tech to play football?
Greg Daniels.
Greg Daniels.
Oh, Greg Daniels could
Yeah.
ball, man.
Greg Daniels.
He was a good basketball player too.
Real good basketball player.
Oh, yeah.
He played on my. We won three. Three straight intramural championships at Virginia Tech.
Yep.
With Greg Daniels on the team.
Yeah, my brother
tell
told
you
me
what,
about him.
he gave it to Bimbo Coles. He gave it to Dale Curry. I seen him personally give it. He was amazing as a basketball player.
Hey, I'll go this for Marcus and Rusty. You know this. So we play in Hopewell, right? Chris Holloway is their point guard. His freshman year, he's the CIAA tournament MVP. But Marcus drew 2 open court charges on that joker, which put him on the bench in foul trouble. We're not talking about standing on the basket and drawing a charge. We're talking about covering him 94 feet, beating him to a spot, and drawing charge twice. That joker was 5'8" or 5'9". He was a lefty, lightning quick. That's the type of defender Marcus was.
No, okay. So I'm gonna tell you another story about how great a defender Marcus was. When you played for Boo Williams, it's legendarily told of how you shut down Bobby Hurley. I heard that you played for Boo, didn't y'all play Bobby?
Yeah.
I heard you locked him up, made him cry. You know that sad Duke face he used to have? You was giving him that back in the day. Yeah.
Rat boy. He put him in jail.
Yeah.
He put him in jail.
Marcus, don't know Marcus.
I kind of was. I was upset though. I played it with a chip on my shoulder that whole tournament, and I probably was the best basketball that I really played in my life.
Marcus, you remember this? I don't need to jump in, but I mean, because the same tournament, because Joel and I came to watch y'all play at I think it was at HU back at Holland Hall.
Yep.
And this is on the other side because he locked up Bobby Hurley, but Kenny Anderson.
Kenny Anderson, though.
Listen, Kenny Anderson, he beat Marcus up the court, like handling the rock.
Right.
Joe looked at me and goes, "Have you ever seen somebody beat Marcus up the court with the ball?"
Right.
I was. Kenny Anderson was a different level.
Yeah.
I was just talking to my brother.
Yeah, that was when he came. It was Riverside Church, which is the Gauchos now.
Gauchos.
He's still the best high school player I've ever seen. I never saw Iverson play, by the way. But one of the things I was going to point out, Marcus, is how close did you come to going basketball instead of football?
And Kay talked about this. We talked about this at the. I had
I thought
basketball was my first love. Leah tell you, basketball. I wanted to go basketball, but I wanted to go. I wanted to be D1 or big time D1, and that didn't present itself as a basketball player.
Right.
I did take a trip and visit out to Tulsa.
They wanted you back.
Tulsa.
Yeah.
That was JD Barnett, VCU's old coach, right?
Yep. VCU's coach. Yep. He had just
JD Barnett. And you know how he can act sometime on the bench.
Yeah. You be like, no, I don't want that.
And I went out there and I did the shoot around with this team, and you talking about, and this again, I was playing my best basketball at this time. I didn't miss anything. He called Coach K that night. He called Coach K that night and said he can play basketball, he can play football. You don't have to play basketball this year. He can play football this year and come back. He said, well, he can do whatever he want to do if he just signed this piece of paper right here before he get back on the plane.
So you would have done it before Kirby and Ronald Curry. You would have done it if you had. Well, like they went to UVA and did it, but you could have done it. No doubt.
Definitely could have done it because the dude that was playing against was Hershey Hawkins. Hershey Hawkins was playing. For which is I think it was Bradley.
He played for Bradley. Yeah, they played close. Yep.
Bradley, and Hershey he couldn't dribble, so I was like, I would have locked him down easy, and that's what I was like telling him. This is easy.
Yeah.
And so, but
But let's go back to those Christmas tournaments, Rusty, real quick.
Please, yes. The Christmas tournaments were amazing.
That was an event. That was a community event.
Yes.
Yeah.
Place was packed, man. The teams from, I remember our junior year.
Walbrook, Lake Clifton.
Remember Lake Clifton came down.
Lake Clifton. I remember Lake Clifton.
They were ranked in the nation.
That's right. Yeah. They were.
Man, we sent them home with a 25-point L.
I was there that night.
What's the dude? Dai? I forgot his name. The dude, the tall guy that had 7-footer.
Yeah.
They had a 7-footer.
Lake Clifton. They had a guy that went to Oklahoma State.
Yeah, that was Dai. Day or something. I forget. That's his nickname.
Yeah.
That was his nickname, but I forget his real name.
You guys put on a show like those Christmas tournaments, but I will tell you one other one I went to, because I of course went to all the way through, even when my brother was playing in 88, 89. But when I came back and saw Allen Iverson his junior year,
against
Baker, couldn't get in. Yeah, you could not get in the door. Bruh, people before you should up at the part where the weight room and stuff, people were up there. It was standing room only.
Dude,
and
he sold the Coliseum out.
He sold the Coliseum.
They sold the Coliseum out for that game, for the regular season game.
Yeah.
They couldn't hold that at a high school. They had to go to the Coliseum.
So they left Bethel. They started playing at HU at Holland Hall, and then they had to start going to the Coliseum. And this is how you know Chuck was special, because my mom loves sports, but she basically loves when her babies are playing. So she's gonna go watch all our games. But the thing to do when Chuck and Rutland were there, I'd be like, hey, call my mom at VCU. I'm like, what you doing? Like, we're going to the game. We're going to see Iverson. I'm like, it won't none of her kids on the team. It was an event. It was an event.
It was. I enjoyed watching ball.
I played pickup ball at Bethel. I was at Christopher. Well, maybe I was still. Yeah, I was still playing at Christopher Newport at the time. We played a pickup game at Bethel. Coach Kaz used to open the gym up.
Yep.
And Chuck was coming off his 9th grade year. And after playing that afternoon, I knew, like, I said, this kid is a pro. Like, going into 10th grade, I knew that. I was a college player. I played with Lamont. Like, I saw what professional level looks like. And I knew his athleticism was off the charts, man.
Yep. But get this.
Go ahead.
But get this. I'm going to say this. Before I left, he came in the gym. I think we played. And this is just telling you how far, how just at Chuck's, how he did it. We were down at Magruder. I don't know if you know Magruder.
Oh, yeah. Down the bottom.
Down at Magruder gym on Saturday morning. You had to get in there. You got to get down there early because they won't let certain folks. You won't get in there. So Chuck was in there, and I'm gonna tell you what, he had to wait his turn too. And then when he got on, he got set down quick. Because I'm gonna tell you something like Charlie Peoples. I'll tell you the boys, Charlie Peoples and Ferguson, had the people from Warwick and the people from Hampton used to come there. Everybody, the Swan boys, Darren Swan and the Arab man.
Darren Swan, yeah.
Everybody used to converge on certain places to play the best. I mean, like when me and Lee came up, we would have to go to Kickingham. We would play. It wasn't nothing for us to posse up, get everybody's pinto, and ride to Kickingham and play down there on Saturday morning or Sunday.
Oh yeah,
right. Just to get different competition.
Kids do that today, man. I mean, you're talking about when y'all could drive, but I'll go back to the story I was gonna say before. I remember being like us in, I think 7th or 8th grade, and we played, I don't know if Marcus came, but we played like Courthouse Green against like y'all's neighbor. Y'all
it was on our bikes.
Yeah, you on our bikes. Yeah, I remember Lee, y'all after I want to say we won, but y'all might have. But
we beat Rich Neck too. We beat Lee and them too.
But the neighborhoods, like we
mess with Warwick Lawns, man.
Each other.
Hey, Kirk, they couldn't mess with Warwick Lawns. Warwick Lawns was special. Do you realize we got a Grammy Award winner? Victor Wooten came out of Warwick Lawns. I used to see him every day.
Yeah,
man. So another thing I wanted to say,
running around.
Oh yeah. I think we all got a Chuck story. I will say this. One time I was at VCU, some of my friends that played basketball would tell me, hey, this guy from your high school is just crushing it. And he was only in like the 9th or 10th grade. And we would, like you said at Fort Eustis, we would go to Langley and play.
Oh
In
yeah,
fact,
I've
Bo
been
Kelly
there.
Bo Kelly and I would stay in touch by playing ball at Langley. But I was at Langley one day, and I don't know how Chuck got in because my dad was in the military, but I got in there and it was me and my brother, and Chuck came with like 3 guys. And so when we got together, because we said, oh, we're all from Beth, like they were current players, and me and my brother graduated, and we were playing like these grown men. And man, I knew he was supposed to be good, and I was like, okay, but I said, son, I'm the oldest here. I'm gonna play point guard. I think I brought the ball up one time. After that, Chuck, he brought it up and scored like whatever game was, 11 straight points. Like grown men couldn't stop. I think the only thing I might have had an assist, I threw it up and he caught an alley-oop at like back then maybe 5'9". Really, just crushing grown men. I was like, oh yeah, you are legit.
He's so much faster than everybody, boy. It's just so much faster.
Yeah.
I got a quick story. My college roommate for 2 years and was my dorm mate was a guy named Alan Bowden. If Bowden rings a bell, his brother Todd was the all-time leading scorer at Pocosin. And his dad was
Big Todd.
Yeah. So Mr. Bowden, Royce Bowden, was an official. And I remember the first time I met him, I'm like, man, I've seen you a million times, Peninsula District official. But in 92, we had been out of school for a year, and we went to their house, and it was Mr. Bowden's 50th birthday. So all these Peninsula District officials that I had seen for years and years and years were there. They had just played a round of golf. And back then, there was no social media. So Iverson was like legendary. You know, it was making its way up here. So these guys were just talking. And by the way, Jess Kersey was there, too. He was good friends with them. But one of the guys said, go back to this, he's better than Kenny Anderson. And I'm like, what? And they said, yeah, he's better than Kenny Anderson. And I still marvel that guy is, from our town. And that first step of his, that crossover, and the fact that, how good he was just unbelievable.
One of the things,
he was tough.
And we all know he was also a great football player.
Because he's tough.
Player. He's tough. And look, I'll say this. One thing about Chuck that I used to tell people this, because back then, even though I was young, I still go play in men's basketball league. I said, I don't have a jumper. I said, but where I came from, we were all taking it to the rack. We were all, you think about it. Now, y'all could shoot jumpers, but we all could take the ball to the hole. I learned that playing in Denbigh, man. Like, I'm left-handed. I don't have no right, but you still can't stop me going left. And that's what Chuck did. And he could do that in the Big East and in the league, because he went through that. He get beat up, but he kept going.
See,
that's how we ball.
But see, that defines every district champion in the district. Whoever was the toughest. I mean, you think about it. League you got to be tough, man. Flea was tough. Flea, man. I'm trying to tell you, because man, battle.
I'll tell you a story about Marcus.
Back in Indian River. Flea was the only white guy on the team. If we had won that game, then Flea is talking. Is Flea fried little Vinny? I mean, I didn't have a job to tell you like this. I lost that game for us. I lost that game. But Flea, if it wasn't for Flea, we wouldn't even get close, because Flea was killing them in that game. So they was in there teasing him. They was throwing stuff at Flea during the game. We was playing Indian River. Yo.
Kirk mentioned, we played him at Wilson, the old Wilson gym.
Yep.
Yeah. Man, I took all kind of verbal abuse in the warm-up. They called me water boy. Look at the token water boy. They were killing me, man. And
Flea was just giving it back to him. He was coming down the court. Every time Flea got the ball, they would say something like, water boy, water. And then Flea came down, was like, la, 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 la. And he was like, they started throwing stuff at him. Throwing stuff at him. It was crazy. I
So,
remember.
Lee, after
Wait,
you,
hold on. But before, so just so people get some perspective on the framing, Lee Martin was the man. He played on that great Denbigh team. But I got to give my partner Kirk Hilliard some props. Kirk played basketball for Phoebus on the varsity, and only white guy on the team. So you know he had to have some game. If
I
he
know he
played
had
for
game.
Phoebus, he had to have some game.
all right. Let's get this out of the way. You keep
All right.
saying that. Let me tell you the story behind this. All right. This is why I was OWB, only white boy. All right. In the history of Phoebus, all right. So 75, 76 was our first year. All right. Phoebus had never had a team without a white kid. In 83, we had 3 white starters. And then 83, 84, we had multiple. That 84, 85 team that was so good did not have a white player. All right. In 85, 86, our principal told our coach, I do not want a team without a white player. I was a good athlete, and I stepped up to the plate. That's it.
Hey.
All right.
My
All right.
games were to practice. All right.
All right. Hey, so look, we've covered a lot of stuff that, and again, we could do. We might have to have another segment, but I want our viewers to hear what happened after high school. Because you guys, I know, again, we talked about what you're doing now. We talked about high school, but you guys went on to play some college sports. Tell us a little bit about that.
Go ahead, Lee.
Yeah, I went down to junior college first, down in Florida, Pensacola, and got a little homesick. And Christopher Newport had approached me coming out of high school about the possibility of playing for them. So that was kind of my backup plan. Mm-hmm. And what a backup plan. So when I moved back, I went and met with Coach Woolham, and he said, I think we could use you like this year. Like, even though you've already missed one semester, I think we could use you. So I wasn't
That
sure
was your freshman year, right?
Yes. And I wasn't sure if I wanted to waste a year of eligibility on half a season, but he talked me into it. And they weren't really good I wouldn't say really good, but, at that point, the Dixie Conference, we had several teams that were going to move up in levels, like UNC Greensboro.
Oh, yeah.
St. Andrews moved up to NAIA after that. So we had schools that had scholarship level players, and we had Troy Wright and Lamont Struthers. I mean, come on. I mean, I played a backup role that year, and we ended up winning the conference championship. And we repeated the next year. So I won 2 conference championships out of high school, coming off of 2 district championships. So I expected to win. I didn't know anything different. I finished my career at Christopher Newport and went into coaching, which is tough because, when you're on successful teams that win, you start realizing as a coach that that's a special situation. You don't always get teams that are championship level teams. So that was a struggle for me coaching. And then I coached a couple of years with the women's team at Christopher Newport. At that point, I decided to switch gears and sort of move into athletic administration. Mm-hmm. And so that's what, like I said, I've moved into that the last 15 years. Played in a lot of adult leagues, and my game until my late 20s, going into 30. I mean, I was still improving. Like, at that point, I was still improving, right? Yeah, I mean, I had guys ask me, did I play overseas or did I? And I'm like, no, I teach and I play on the side, but playing basketball has a shelf life. And so in my early 30s, I found out quickly that, my legs stopped doing what I was used to doing. And I picked up the game of golf, which is so much harder and so much more frustrating than anything I've ever done. So, but that's my passion now, is trying to get better in golf.
Okay. All right. Marcus, did you play any sports after high school?
Yes. I ended up going to accepting a scholarship to go to Virginia Tech, and instead of Tulsa.
Tulsa. I think I'm familiar with your career, but everybody may not know. Let's go ahead and tell us a little bit about your time.
That golden hurricane.
Right.
But I played at Virginia Tech, and then I was fortunate enough to people don't really know. One of my stories, I the opportunity again to go early. I leave early my junior year. I was like ranked like really high, really high, really high. The top 5 in my class as receiver. Ran it, had clocked a 4.32, 4.329, and then going into my senior year, and then
you had Will Ferrell those first few years, right?
well, me and Will came out together, and then I had Will when I went to Chicago too.
That's right.
So,
That's right.
So what happened with me was my senior year, I played my first 3 games, and I ended up getting hurt. I hurt my knee, and Virginia, and they said that it was so kind of just thing when we went back and forth, and I came back to the final game of the year just to show that I could run and everything, show everything. But at the time, I was damaged goods at that time, so I went to the combines and ran a real bad 4.5, 4.6, and
which is
kind of
good. Which is good. It's
Right.
really good, but it's not
Yeah.
Marcus Mickel. Yeah.
Right, exactly. And so I kind of fell down off the draft, but I signed as a free agent with Chicago, and went there and had a real good training camp.
Yeah, I watched you play some preseason. Oh yeah.
Caught a pass on Monday Night Football, the first
That's
Monday Night
right.
Football
That's right.
game.
Oh man, I was cheering to
Yeah,
that TV,
caught a
man.
pass. And so that was just, I was doing a lot more in training camp than what y'all saw on the TV. I was doing that like in something. So I really had a good training camp. So I thought that I was going to, NFL is funny. So fortunate enough to be called back on the practice squad that year, finished the year, then came home, playing basketball again.
Heard it again.
Tore my ACL.
Woo.
In the Phoenix. I was playing in the Phoenix, Kurt. I was playing at the Phoenix in Hampton.
Phoenix, man.
Yep. Phoenix.
In the gym, and tore my ACL. And so I rehabbed it. So rehabbed it for a little while, rehabbed it, and then went and played in Toronto for a year. Went up there for like.
Okay. Did you play with the Rocket?
Rocket? No, I played with what's the other one? Pinball. I played with Pinball.
Oh, right. Oh, yeah,
And,
Pinball from William and Mary.
Yeah,
Clement.
Pinball and Smoke. Smoke Wilson was there. And I stayed there for a season up there in that cold weather. And I was just, I don't know how I even made it as far as I did, because my mind and the knee and my mental and everything was hard. So came back and started coaching and teaching. Ended up coaching. I think Dan Barner gave me my first opportunity. Guy from Bethel. His son Pete Barner played with you.
Oh, Pete. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Pete. Dan Barner's dad gave me my first opportunity at James Blair Middle School in Williamsburg, Virginia. And from there, we went and I coached football with Dan Tolan. And we turned that Lafayette program totally around. And that's what's going on with it now. It's still the same from where we started. And I take pride in that, because that's P.J. Pickett, Brian Gator. Those guys are still around. And they're doing, still a spokesman for Lafayette High School and Williamsburg community right now. Mm-hmm. Although those dudes, man, hey, those Lafayette Williamsburg guys, they wanted to be like what we wanted, what we had. They got tired of being, kicked around in the Peninsula District. And once they got a chance to have their own thing and set it up, they went forward. And we fought some tough teams like in Salem, those boys out there in the western part of the state, where they live and die football. So they had to adapt to that, and they brought it back to my side of town. Hats off to them. And after that, then I left the area for a little while and went to Maryland. I got a championship under Coach Bill McGregor, At DeMatha.
At DeMatha, okay.
Yeah, we got a chip. I got a chip right there with Kenny Tate.
Okay.
He was our main guy. I had the pleasure to coach him. We ended up playing defensive end. No, defensive like linebacker, outside linebacker for Maryland. But he was our main guy. He played wide receiver for us and defensive back for me. I was the receiver and the defensive back coach up there. And so after that, there and then Bill left that following year. Then he left, and then he went way up to Baltimore. And I didn't go with him. I stayed back and hung out and did some recruiting. New coach, but I just faded off, and into the sunset after I got my chip.
Marcus, I'll say this in terms of injuries. I my senior year, I had a bad ankle injury, and I kept trying to play through. Back then, first of all, the technology and the surgeries were archaic compared to what you get now. But back in the day, if you got an ACL, that might be a wrap in terms of your speed and quickness. Now with the technology, like people are coming back faster and stronger. So it's not just the surgery, but also the way we're doing the physical therapy and rehab. It's just, unfortunately, it's 30 years later, but we're seeing that. But the other thing is, and you guys can maybe speak to this, but back in the day, man, we were just told whether it was a concussion or a twisted ankle, like suck it up and get back out there. Nowadays, these cats are taking much better care of their body. And now they're also starting to get their mental together. So, I say, hey, when people talk about the play, what are the NBA players when they were, I forget what the term they use, but when they're sitting out.
Load management.
Load management. Thank you, Lee. Load management. I hear the old school guys. I hear the, guys talking about Scottie Pippen, some of these guys talking about load management. I wouldn't do that. Jalen Rose. I'm like, you know what, bro? If you had done it, you could have played like LeBron. You could have played much longer. Because 62 games is an arbitrary, just made up number. Like the body may not be meant to do it, especially at the rate they were doing it without the rest. Like maybe if y'all played 45 break games, Jordan could have had a few more years. So anyway, but my point is, we think those old ways were good, but we look back now, man. I tell you what, now I don't know anybody that passed away from heat exhaustion, but I swear we did not get water breaks in football in 2 days back then, man. And
nobody got a concussion.
No one got a concussion when we was coming. Yeah,
you got your
smelling sauce. You remember the smelling sauce, the ammonia?
Yep.
And by the way, that's not just a saying. I don't remember anybody getting a concussion.
Right.
For real.
No.
Diagnosed with a concussion.
Right. That was not even a diagnosis or prognosis. What was that?
Yeah.
Bruh, I know I saw stars before.
Got your bell rung. That's what it's called. You
got your bell rung. Yeah. But as long as we are, and you guys know, we're going to take better care of these athletes today because we're recognizing those things, and it's helping them to prolong their career. So,
Rusty, real quick, we're at about 58 minutes, which is just fine. We're having a great time talking, but we want to encourage everyone to check us out on YouTube, the Kirk and Byrd BYRD show. Please subscribe. If you like our videos, share it with somebody. Comment. If we get something wrong, make fun of us. If you don't agree with us, make fun of us. If you like us, if you got somebody you want to have come on, we just love. By the way, some folks who may not be notorious are great interviews. And the other thing is Twitter. We do a lot with high school. Rusty and I were just down Friday at VCU. Saw some awesome games. That Highland Springs Maury game, by the way, reminded me of back in the day. So on Twitter, we're at the Kirk and Byrd, and then Amazon, Apple, Spotify, and Google for just the audio. If you ever want to listen to us, I
want to give love to the Minchfield Lady Monarchs representing the PD in Denbigh area with a state championship. Those girls were amazing. Real proud of you.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah,
Props.
it was.
Yeah.
I was just going to say real quick to give a plug. That Highland Springs Maury game at the end of the night was old school basketball. They were not running up and down the court, just shooting like AAU. those guys were battling. It was getting chippy. And man, Rusty, remember those Highland Springs guys looked like men. I mean, I didn't have that much hair on my face till I was
so what I thought was, and this is what we learned on our show from Larry Legend, is Highland Springs had football players that are great athletes playing basketball. Maury had Norfolk basketballers. They had ballers, but those athletes were a little bit bigger, stronger. But Maury didn't back down. And it was just a battle to the end. It just literally came down to the very end. And the sophomore quarterback for Highland Springs hit the free throw, banked in the free throw to win.
Banked in a free throw.
Who's Maury's coach?
Brandon
Maury's
Plummer?
coach,
Plummer?
Oh man, Kenneth, I believe it's Kenneth Bradley. I can look it up real quick, but he's good.
Lee said Plummer.
It might be. I was getting in touch with most of them last week.
We talked to Lamont Struthers. He was on the show, but we also talked to him there. Man, I was pulling for Kickerton or Minchfield to get there, man. They had some great seasons. But look, let's get.
My nephew starts for Minchfield.
Oh, he does?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. He's big boy. He's about 6'5". Plays the post, handles the ball well. Doesn't try to do more than he can do. So he's plays, and Lamont's son. And they got a wing player named AJ Clark. They're all back next year. Minchfield's going to be.
They're all back. Yeah.
The big guy. I think the big guy's the only senior.
Right, Dallas. Whatever. I can't remember his last name, but yeah, the tall kid.
They got a baby. Oh wow, that's your sister's son.
Yeah, Devin. Yeah, Jaden. Her oldest son plays at Randolph-Macon, who is in the final. Okay. They're in the Final Four, Division III Final Four weekend.
Yep.
So he's got 2 championships with them.
Right.
In his first 2 years. He's still trying to get on the court. But...
So real quick, I wanted to cover something because Rusty's brother was a great linebacker for Virginia Tech, played with you, Marcus, and you were a great wide receiver. And, you were there. I remember I said on one of our shows that your class was Beamer's first class. And it was John Jeffries said, 87 was, and the reason why 87. The reason why I said 88 is Byrd, Kilpatrick, and all those guys. They were dually recruits, so he had to go back and save the ones that he could. So that's why I kind of say 88 was his first true class. Tony Kennedy, Mark Verneal, was Bernard Basham? Was he 88 or
he came 89?
Okay,
he was 89. He was with Melendez.
Yeah. But real quick. You were at a point where Beamer came in, and it was like 2-9. Darren Fullwood was on our show, and Beamer's first victory was Navy at Lane Stadium, and Darren was playing DB on that team. 2-9, 3-8, then 6-4-1. That 6-4-1 team was good. That 6-5 team was very good. And then the next year, you played on the 5-6 team, which was winning every single game. Oklahoma, Florida State, all those. I mean, how'd you feel back then, which is the glory days? And what Rusty and I have found out is when we talk to guys, so many of these new kids, that's old school unless it's Michael Vick, But how was it in Blacksburg back then? Because our schedule, you played against Brett Favre, you played against Terry Allen, Clemson, the Fridge,
Deion Sanders.
Deion Sanders.
I heard Deion was talking smack to you, Marcus, when you was a freshman.
Donnell Wolford, man, we played against some beasts.
Yep. West Virginia, you had Major Harris, who was one of the best players ever. And what was that experience like? And I wanted to ask you because we got a lot of Hokie fans. Who do you think the best player you played with, and if that gets you into trouble, just name 2 or 3 at Virginia Tech, and then against? How about who you played against? So when you were at Tech, there's a bunch of guys that played in the NFL. Eugene Chung was a first-round pick. Tyrone Drakeford went very high. But who are some of the best players you played with in Blacksburg?
Oof.
All right. I'm gonna say this: the best players didn't make it to the NFL.
I was gonna say it's not always.
That's often the case.
And
so give them a shout out.
John Jeffries.
Oh yeah, man.
John Jeffries.
John Jeffries.
That guy was awesome.
John Jeffries. I mean,
Yeah.
John Jeffries was one of the real reasons why I came to Virginia Tech, because he was special on my visit.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
When I saw him, when I met him on my visit, he was special. He had like that Iverson effect, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, he running through everybody with no blocking.
Right.
Yep.
You know, he was running through. He was going. I seen him. He was going against. He was the only thing we had my freshman year. And I was not ready to give up. I was not ready to sacrifice my body like he was doing my freshman year. That's because he was hands down, and then he was strong. He had the mentality, and then he brought everybody else along with him. And then once he got hurt, and then he came back, and you know, he was my kick returner when I'm back there catching the kicks. He was my personal protector. And you know, he used to be the punt kick returner. He used to be the man. And he passed that down to me. And you know, for him to pass that down to me and then be the personal protector, it says a lot for him. He made some hella blocks for me. And so that's why you John Jeffries won. By far I got Freeman. If I saw Freeman, I've seen Antonio Freeman come from like nothing to just be very slow and weak to strong and fast and quick.
Yep.
You know, he was the only guy. I mean, basketball wise, I ain't gonna lie. Him and Drakeford put some on me. They double teamed because they came. You know, I got 3 intramural championships, but then when Drakeford, Antonio Freeman, and Maurice DeSaggio came around.
Oh yeah.
I saw him play basketball.
Talk about athletes and speed and those 3 dudes right there together was like me, Joe, and Lee on the basketball in high school back in the day, and Kevin. It was like that. And so those you know, like I said, all those guys were pros. Damian Russell was a pro. He went to San Francisco. He was one of the fastest dudes I've ever seen. He ran a 4.2.
Yeah.
He's a DC guy.
Yeah, DC guy. You know, Chung, and then Dembo Pine, you know, he almost didn't come because of me, because you know, we was trying to do crazy things at Tech, but I'm glad he did. But Dembo is, you know, Dembo, he does his thing. Then we had a wave of receivers and defensive backs. Antonio Banks, he did well coming out of from midfield. I remember he came in. Right. I mean, Peninsula District, anybody from the Peninsula District, once we get there, we can get, I used to say this all the time. Dwayne Knight, Doodoo, I remember Doodoo, I gotta give Doodoo his props. We had Fred Lassiter. Fred Lassiter was supposed to, if he had his chance, you talk about a heck of an athlete. He can throw that, he can spin it. He can spin that ball. He was close to being, he could have been the next, who knows? I'm just gonna say, who knows? Yeah. If he was back then, when he came out of Minchfield, he was doing this, you know, Vic stuff, the Brook stuff and all that stuff too. So
I'm thinking about against, because you played
against.
Yeah,
definitely
transition to that.
Prime was special. Prime was special than all the others. Prime, do you realize Prime does not drink a lick of alcohol? There's nothing in his body.
Yeah.
Prime, and you would think that, you know, for him to talk as much dunk as he could talk and dance as much dance as he could dance and be as fast as he was fast, he's tough. He's really tough. He will tackle you. And people coming after him like me. I'm trying to kill him. And he running around, and I'm running around trying to block him, and he grabbed me. You can't block me. Yeah. I'm $1 million man, boy. I'm $1 million man. You can't mess with me.
Hey, and you talk about
around. Trying to go at him again.
A great athlete.
No, I'm just trying to block you. I can't catch him to block him. So,
yeah, we know he was a great athlete in terms of playing football and
seen
baseball.
him
But he was a great basketball player too.
And then when I played in Chicago, I was playing in Chicago. He was at Atlanta. I seen him hurdle Jim Harbaugh, and he jumped over Jim Harbaugh like a deer, and came down and landed and went over there and started talking junk to Coach Dicker, and Dicker was so mad. I mean, so it was, that's the type of stuff. And that's how much fun he had playing the game. He had fun playing the game. Barry Sanders was also unbelievable. Yep. Barry Sanders, it's freaking nature.
Yeah.
That's short.
You guys played against Frank Wycheck at Maryland. I remember Frank. He was a little younger than us.
Yeah, I know Frank. Yeah, Frank and Dean Thomas.
Yeah.
Well, y'all also played those UVA teams.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Yeah.
Me and Jason used to go at it.
Jason,
me and Jason went at it, man. Me and Jason went at it every year.
Ray Savage, Chris
Slade, Ray Savage,
Herman Moore, Sean Moore, Keith McMeans, Terry Kirby,
McMeans. Oh man, me and him was go
Ray Roberts.
Yeah, those were some good times.
So now look, we could do this all day, but we're gonna go ahead and start to wrap up. But let's get our folks to know a little bit more about you guys outside of some of the sports stuff, like what some little more things that we like to call like the non-sports, but to really get to know kind of your mentality type stuff. So we'll start out, but we like to ask, what are some of do you have a favorite movie of all time, or is there anything in particular you're watching on TV that you're streaming now? Because we get some unique answers. You'll have this former big whatever athlete, and he's like, I like Bambi or something. Tell me, what are some of the things? What was your favorite movie growing up, or of all time? And then, are you streaming anything right now? Go ahead, Lee.
Yeah, my wife and I are in the middle of streaming Netflix and watching the Manifest series.
Oh, okay.
Stuff out there, yeah.
It's got me hooked right now. We're 6 episodes in. My daughter has already seen all 3 seasons, and so she's sitting there kind of looking at us. She wants to give us some spoilers. We're like, no,
write that down. I'm gonna write that down.
Manifest?
Yeah, Manifest.
Okay.
And my favorite movie, the first movie that my wife and I was 2 of our first movies, Coming to America.
Yeah.
He kicked Joe Lewis's ass.
Hilarious. And then if that comes on TV, I'm hooked. I'm done for the next.
Oh yeah.
And another favorite was the Silence of the Lambs.
Oh yeah.
Man, I saw that in the theater. I had no idea what the movie was supposed to be about, and I went with this female, but we were just friends. We weren't dating, but she was a senior. She had a car in college, and we get there, and we both like this. She all up. I'm like, this movie is crazy.
Hannibal Lecter.
Hannibal. Like, I had no idea what this movie was about, man. Yo.
Yeah.
Marcus.
Go ahead, Marcus.
All right, Lee.
So
it's the fun stuff.
Yeah, I guess my favorite movie has to be right now it's the 5 Heartbeats,
Oh, that's my brother.
Yeah.
That's my brother.
5 Heartbeats, Eddie Kane.
Yeah.
I got nothing but love for you, baby.
Yeah.
But then, I mean. The other one was what was the other question? Growing up,
is there any? Anything?
But I'm watching right now.
Watching now?
I'm not going to sound. I guess I got hooked. Me and my fiance. Yellowstone.
Yeah.
Yellowstone. And then that chick, she a bad chick, man. She a bad chick, man. She crucial. I like his daughter. I like the way she run things. She real.
Let me ask y'all: Have y'all seen the show on the Lakers, Winning Time, on HBO?
No, but I want to watch that.
I do too. I grew up a Showtime fan.
Yeah. Oh yeah, me too. My favorite player is Magic all time.
Yeah, and by the way, little trick. you can get a free month, and they get your credit card and all that. As long as you don't forget on the 30th day, you can watch a free month of HBO. And by the way, wait a couple of weeks, you can do it again. So if you want to watch The Wire, The Sopranos, Boardwalk, all that, but I'm going to check that out. Rusty, I'll go real quick because these are our guests, but I usually don't vary, but I do Voodoo. Voodoo's owned by Walmart.
Oh, yeah.
There's 3 movies I own. The others I rent, and there's some I should probably buy because I keep watching them. And that's Remember the Titans, Friday, and Dazed and Confused, which was Matthew McConaughey's first movie. It's about 76 kids. They're stoned the whole time. And Friday and Big Worm. We probably had a Big Worm in Hampton and Newport News too. So Rusty, go ahead. I know yours.
Joy, hey Lee, Joy, look, hey Lee. You know who was our Big Worm? He broke my shoulder.
You dropped my ball, Petey.
Remember, was it Joey Brown?
It was Joey Brown.
Remember Joey Brown?
Slammed you on your shoulder at lunch.
Slammed you on my shoulder. Yeah. Slammed you on my shoulder. But look, and I could not play in the Denbigh Sanford Bowl or whatever it was called. What was it called? What was it called?
It was the Denbigh Sanford Bowl.
The Denbigh Sanford Bowl. I was so mad. I wore my jersey. I had the number 2. My brother and I both wore 20. He played on the B and I was on A. And when game was the next day, I was in the ambulance and I told the people, they wanted to cut my jersey. I said, don't cut my jersey. Don't cut my, and they had to take it and work it all the way around. But yeah, Joey Brown was our diva. Yeah.
All right. So I was going to say, Lee, I checked out your Facebook page. You don't have it set to private. So you had all your records laid out. And next to sports, I love talking about music. And I like what you had. So for our guest, Lee, I already know, but talk to us about music back in the day, coming up. 90s was awfully good, by the way, and maybe what you listen to now. So back in the day.
I was a huge rap fan going through the 80s. And Public Enemy, NWA, I was all about that rebellious stuff.
That's right.
I was playing
90s music
for my brother yesterday.
Y'all know that, 90s music you can't touch, but my taste started changing a little bit in the 90s, and I started listening to some more rock and roll and some of the grunge that was coming out, Pearl Jam and Alice in Chains.
That's really good. The Seattle.
And I picked up the guitar in college. One of my teammates grew up playing guitar. I took my tax return money and he helped me go pick out like a good starter electric guitar and a little amp.
That's right. Yeah.
Right, so
I saw a bunch of pictures of you playing guitar.
I play guitar with my church. I play in the band. I just played yesterday, as a matter of fact. It was our church's 19th birthday and I played. So I love playing, my guitar and playing worship music or some of the classic rock.
Yeah.
So music is big to me, man. I grew up, in the 80s, and it wasn't just rap. I found a box of albums and 45s last week that I had in the attic. And I've got Van Halen, The Police, Madonna, Duran.
That's what I was getting ready to say.
1999.
Those early 80s, and they were on We 103 or 102.9.
102.9.
We were listening to Madonna, Duran, Billy Joel, Michael Jackson, Prince.
Man.
Yeah, man.
That was my God.
I got two Thriller albums. I don't know how I ended up with 2 of them, but I got 2 Thriller albums.
I had the glove. Remember, I had the glove at Dozier Middle School. I went to the Dozier Middle School dance with the glove.
Wait a minute. I didn't have, remember when, if you had the Thriller or the Beat It jacket, you were the man? I had like the J.C. Penney version of it. It just had some zippers and was off color. But I thought I was it, man. I thought I was in 9th grade. I was in Davidson. I was like, oh yeah. Man, I had to knock off, but those were hype. Like in the day.
Hey, how about the members only, the black members only jacket?
I had a purple one.
You had a purple one.
And,
Oh.
I had the purple chucks to match.
Oh, because you always have flavor. No, hold on. So I didn't have the members only. I had something probably like remembers only or something. Mine was not. I had the fake version again, man. I couldn't get the real deal. I want a baller like y'all.
All right, Marcus, step up to the plate.
Oh, what Leah tell you, we when I did a lot of stuff in high school. We did a lot of stuff in high school. We had a group. All right.
Yes, you did.
We had a group. We had a dance. We had a performing group.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Did y'all have a breaking group?
But we didn't really break dance. We were more like
No, there was dance groups, and then there was a break. There was Too Fresh at Phoebus.
Who are y'all, the Gammas?
Yeah, we were the Gammas.
The Gammas, baby.
We were the Gammas. And we performed at Virginia Tech Black freshman weekend, one weekend. We went up there and we danced there.
Wow.
And then we did some performances at a couple of wedding receptions. We danced at the wedding receptions here. We danced there. We had a manager. We had a real manager. Donnell Parker's mother was our manager. She used to fix our uniforms and stuff. We get, iron on our shirts. And we were really big. And so we even got a song. Made a song too. I don't know if Lee heard it. We had it. Me, Joe, Kevin, we all got together. We had a song. We made a song. We created a song called Female Popularity.
Man. That reminds me. My boy Derek Fennell, they had a little group at Bethel and they used to do some of that same stuff. Y'all, I don't know if y'all heard Timmy Bill and some of those guys, man. But that was big.
We used to dance against each other, all that stuff.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. All right. So look, all right, we're gonna get ready. Go ahead, Kirk.
No, we're an hour and 22 minutes, and we always say this. I mean, off camera, we're like, hey, we're having fun. So, man. But the 80s had so much hidden music. Remember Set It Off by Strafe?
What? Heck yeah.
Yeah. And Ready for the World? New Edition. They're touring again, and I thought Bobby Brown was Cedric the Entertainer. I'm not joking.
Hey, he is huge. He is huge. Kurt, I would not pay my money to go see them boys.
but for our time, Bobby Brown, Solo, Bell Biv DeVoe, and Johnny Gill, they killed it after that, man. Killed it after that.
Man, Bell Biv DeVoe, man.
Yeah.
Bell Biv,
Poison.
Man, when I was pledging the night we went over, I didn't know we could go over that night. We were the big brothers. I was at VCU and we were driving our car. Well, right before we got in the car, one of the big brothers said, I want y'all to sing the song Poison all the way till you get to campus. It was about a 5-mile drive. And we didn't all go, don't trust the big button, smile. And
never trust the big button, smile.
And we'd be like, Poison! And we just kept repeating that over and over for like 30 minutes, man. Oh my gosh.
And then everybody talks about Run DMC, the Beastie Boys, etc. But there was like Houdini was really good. Houdini was good, and the one-hit wonders like Aron Juice Jones, Walking in the Rain.
It takes two
squirrel trying to get a nut.
What's that?
Y'all remember UTFO?
Oh yeah.
Roxanne.
Roxanne.
Oh man, the real Roxanne.
Marcus, you remember Tony T?
Tony T
used to walk around with his headphones,
with the boom box,
singing. Roxanne. Walk around.
Gazelles. He had the Gazelles on.
Yeah.
How about Nucleus Jam on It?
Oh wow.
All timer.
Planet Rock.
That's
Planet Rock.
Planet Rock wasn't that the first real rap song that everybody remembers hearing?
Planet Rock.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know what though? Y'all forgot one thing about us though. Y'all forgot, and I gotta say, them Smurfs.
Oh,
we were called the Smurfs.
The Smurfs. That's right.
We were called the Smurfs.
Y'all were called the Smurfs.
Trademark back
that was actually in the paper.
In the paper. Smurfs.
In the paper.
Yeah, we would put a Smurf On the scoring table at games.
On the scoring table at every game.
We would call the Smurf.
No, wait a minute. We talked about some great games and teams, but you know, we had JMU players on here, and Lafayette actually was really good back then in basketball. Really good.
Well, look, Lafayette.
I mean,
Lafayette tied us. Like my senior year, Marcus's junior year, we tied at 13-3. They beat us twice in the regular season, and we had to have a playoff at Ferguson for the regional playoff and the number 1 seed. And I had a really good third quarter, but we ended up beating them at Ferguson and to get the regional berth and the number 1 seed. But Lafayette, man, they had Tracy Harrod, Rico Taylor,
Kirk Jemison,
Dirk dunked on us.
Williams,
Dirk
Williams.
Dirk.
Man, those were some
Everett Marsh.
games.
Them boys were good, man.
But and then you think about it, man. Like, so y'all were great. They were great. I mean, and Bethel had
Troy Jackson
couldn't compete with that. Oh
Big
yeah.
Troy.
Oh, Troy Jackson. That's right.
Troy Jackson.
Yeah. And look, but then you go, and then 2 years later, 89, Kevin Swan, Gannon Baker, Aaron Mundy, they win state championship right after y'all leave. Dana was still at Denbigh then, right?
Who?
When did Dana grad? Dana, your brother, Marcus.
Yeah, that was right after I left.
Dana was 89,
because we won the district 3 straight years. I won it my 9th grade, I won it my 10th grade year, my 11th grade year, and my 12th grade year.
So they waited for you to graduate, Marcus. They went and won state.
Yeah.
And we're supposed to have Joel on here. And so we talk about now we've got 6 classes. You know, in our area, you got 4s, 5s, and 6s. So where it was just the AAA back then.
I like the old AAA, man.
You've doubled the amount of teams that go to region. So back then, like Joel was first team all region my senior year.
Yeah,
I mean, Joel was look, the last half of the year, Joel went to work, man. Joel
was a beast.
Oh my God.
Joel was dropping 20-something a night the last part of the season, and he got first team all region. And you know, Joel didn't pick up a basketball until 7th grade. I talked him into it. He was a baseball player.
Baseball player. Yeah.
And I was like,
and a football player though.
He was a quarterback, and he didn't play basketball. So I was like, you got to play basketball, man. So 7th grade, I talked him into starting rec league. And then, you know, 5 years later, he's first team all region, you know, going to being recruited by Rutgers. He should have went to Rutgers. He ended up going to Presbyterian. That didn't work out. And then he hopped around to Longwood and back to George Mason and never finished his basketball career. But, you know, Joel at 6'2", that's what changed us our senior year, Marcus, was handed him the ball.
Yeah, came out of nowhere with the
because before that he was like forward, and then once he started playing guard, man, y'all just had so much
he put
talent.
Joel at the top.
Fun.
He gave him the ball.
That's right.
He said, bring the ball up, run the offense.
So
Joel was big time for us that last half of the year.
Rusty,
no doubt.
Rusty, we're hitting a record. This is gonna be our.
I know, but these are.
No, that's fun.
So last thing.
Well, it didn't have to be the last thing, but I just wanted to say this. I wanted to tell you guys that we want to be diverse. So we're going to get some non-sports folks on here, right? We're going to get some people from different walks of life that experience. There's a lady that went to my high school that is a constitutional professor. She's very active. We know some authors. I've got a classmate that's a producer in Hollywood, used to be executive producer on NCIS. You got your dog. But, you know, we want you to let anybody know, Lee and Marcus, that we love the younger athletes, high school. They don't need to be a superstar. They don't need to be a 5-star. They don't need to be a football, basketball. They could be a swimmer. We're getting ready to hopefully book the top 5 sophomore softball player in the country. And, you know, anybody in your area, you know, that wants to come on, it's all about us just having a good time, talking sports, like if we were in each other's living rooms, just hanging out. And I will say this, Rusty, and let you make your point, is my 2 favorite sporting events are coming up. And Lee, you might be close with this. My first is actually the Masters. And I didn't play golf growing up in Hampton. Trust me, I didn't play golf. and then March Madness is my second, big time. So those are coming up, and it's been a lot of fun having you guys on. And we could always do another one where we get Lee on. And I've seen Andre Kendrick, by the way, Marcus. He did the Stallions, and he had like 10 tailbacks on, but we could always.
You did the Stallions?
Yeah, no, you should check Drake and Talk, DREKENTALK. He's got a lot of guys on there. He's got a really good podcast too. But we could always get literally like 7-8 guys from 87, 88 and come back on here. But before we close, Rusty, why don't you take us out?
All right, so last thing I just want to thank you guys for doing this, man. I mean, look, we might have to do this again with another group of Denbigh ballers, because we could easily have on Joel, Bo Kelly, Darren Carter, Kevin Jones. Like, we could do this again. All right. But I know people love hearing and remembering some of these things, because today's kids can't appreciate it. Like, Lee, again, you're walking those halls of Bethel. Those kids don't know you're a baller. Like, you was a baller on and off the court, but you're married. I don't get too much into that. But like, we had some great times growing up, man. Marcus and I from my 7th grade, Marcus and I, we went to the same church. And God definitely kept watching over us through those middle school, high school years. We used
First
to
Baptist Denbigh.
And then Lee, I tell the story. We went on our 8th grade class trip to DC.
Yep.
And it was a lot of fun. And then I think it was like, we were all supposed to leave. And I said, like, I gotta use the bathroom. I don't know if you had to go or I had to go, but I think I was the one to say, hey, let's go to the bathroom. We were at the Lincoln Memorial. Went to the bathroom with the big Abraham Lincoln joint up there, and we came out and the bus was gone.
I was very sad.
The bus was gone. The bus was gone. And we were like, what? And I was like, because my parents were separated at the time. My dad worked in DC at the Pentagon. And I was like, well, we could call my dad, but I don't know the number. And we were looking, and the bus was around the corner, and they had pulled a joke on us. We were running. Man, we got on that bus. That joint was so funny, bro. Good times, man. But that was my last thing at Denbigh, but I loved my time at Denbigh. And I'll say this, again, Newport News was basketball, but Hampton was football, and we were moving. And one of the things I told my mom, I gave her only one stipulation. I said, I'm only going to go to a high school where I can play football at either Hampton or Bethel. She had found a really nice house in Warwick's zone. And my brother and I said, no, we're not going. We're not moving. And she changed her mind. We moved across the line into Hampton, and I went to Bethel. But those were some great times. I want the kids that are you're teaching or being around to know, hey, how fun it was growing up, how great it was, and lifelong friendships. And the last thing I'll say is this show, Marcus, you got a chance to play in the league. Lee, you played college basketball. It's not about, we don't do this to always spotlight the people that made it pro. I mean, we're going to have probably Dwight Hollier on and some people, but like, sports was the common thing and the thing we had in together, and it made us lifelong friends, man. And it was a thing when whether I was playing with you or against you, I had so much respect for you guys. Like I said, Marcus played big time college football, but we still talk about that JV year when y'all were dominant. When you're JV, you were quarterback and I was quarterback, and you knew how to tell people he gonna run out to left because he left-handed, and y'all knew that stuff because we had done it growing up. So I just want to, say thank you for being on the show, man. Y'all have blessed a lot. If you have anything you want to plug, anything that you're doing, whether in the community, please, this is your time to do it. But I again want to thank you, and I do want to end on one last thing. Do you have anybody, and I ask this question, is it anybody in your phone that you can hit up, you can text them or go through Facebook Messenger and they'll hit you back, that might be interesting for us to know, that or you just consider interesting? It may not be anybody famous, but it's like, yo, that's my man.
Yeah, well, 2 days, I'll make a couple of plugs.
Okay.
And so at Bethel, Liberty Baptist Church on Big Bethel Road has been great to Bethel High School. They take care
Blair
of
Wood. Blair.
Yeah.
They played baseball.
Yeah, Liberty Baptist takes care of our athletes, man. They feed them before games.
Outstanding.
They allow us to use their facility for things, so they've been good to us. And Tommy Riemann Jr. is doing some nice things in the community at City on My Chest.
Yep.
Yep.
He's about to sponsor my JV girls soccer team with T-shirts. He has an all-star basketball game this Saturday.
Yep.
At Woodside. So Tommy's doing great things, and I appreciate him. But I think if you could get Joel on here with Joel's experiences outside of sports, running restaurants, living in New York, living in Pittsburgh, some of the people that he's run into, I think it'd be a great interview.
Yeah. Okay.
So I think that's something that you want to consider too. And
his son played big time college basketball. He was here at GW. My office right across the street at the State Department. And
he just finished his eligibility at Butler.
Okay, because he went to South Carolina and then he went to Butler.
Right.
Lee, is City on My Chest in Patrick Henry Mall?
Yep.
Okay. All right. So we're gonna plug that. We're gonna put it across the screen. And I will tell you, I've been seeing Tommy Riemann Jr. on Facebook, and he has some nice gear. I want to buy some of it. So
it is. Yes.
So if you see him, let him know in this video at about the hour and 35 minute, or are we at 1 day 35 hours? Hour to 35 minute mark that we plugged him. And then Marcus, what do you got? Any personal training? Anything you want to plug?
Well, no, let's answer Rusty's last question. Coach, I can tell you, it'd be real interesting for you guys to have on, be Coach Katuba.
I'd love to have him on. If you can get us in touch with him, I would love to have him on.
K would be fun, and because the stories he done seen so much.
Hey, I just called Matt Hatfield yesterday. K finished up with 430 something wins, man.
Oh yeah, wow. He could coach.
430 something wins.
I was just gonna say I saw him play at Phoebus when he was coaching Heritage. This has been a while.
Yeah,
he opened Heritage with my brother. Melendez was there with him for 4 years. Coach K was great, man.
Yep.
Yeah, we'll get his information from you. So once again, what's that?
That would be the only one I have.
Absolutely. So guys, thanks a lot for coming on. It's been fun. And go ahead, Marcus.
Anytime, man.
Telling our stories.
Awesome job.
Hey, look,
I love you guys both, man. We need to get together and plan a fishing trip together. That's what I would love to do. I would like to get together. We got more time.
Get a cabin, play some spades, do a little bit of fishing, maybe take an adult beverage or two. I don't know.
Hey, y'all want to plan it for the 11th of April, Myrtle Beach?
Oh, hey, yo, for real, we got to talk. I got a crib down in Myrtle Beach. For real.
Let's talk. Hey, I got spring break. I got spring break the week of 9 to the 16th. Let's talk offline. I got 2 condos down there, man. All right.
So let's
talk. All right. So y'all, thank you again. You have blessed us. You blessed our audience. Kirk, any last thing?
No. Have a great night. God bless you both. Your educators, the difference that you guys get to make in children's lives and the community makes a big difference. We really appreciate you. And the memory lane walk has been really cool. We probably going to talk about music and movies the whole time. I will close with this. If you can name a movie from 81 to like 88, I will tell you where I saw it. I either saw it at Coliseum 4, Riverdale, Coliseum Mall had a theater, Newmarket North, Newmarket South, and that was it pretty much. So
hold on. I used to go to the movie up in Denbigh. What was that theater?
Beachmont Theater.
Beachmont.
Oh, yeah, that's too far, man. For a guy from Hampton, that's too far.
But
Kurt, Grease, where was you at when you saw Grease?
Grease? Oh, I know exactly where Grease was. Grease was Coliseum 4.
Coliseum? I was at Coliseum Mall. I remember Coliseum Mall. It was
Coliseum
inside the
Mall.
mall. Probably
Yep.
only about 4 theaters. I saw Grease there. My mom got me the soundtrack. I played that soundtrack over and over and over again, man.
Newmarket North was 48 hours, Trading Places.
Mhm.
I just go on and on.
I saw Prince at Newmarket Mall because when I lived in Hampton, I could walk to that mall, and we went there and we stayed all day and watched
Purple
Prince
Rain.
like
That's
4
where
times.
it was playing. Was Newmarket
Purple
North.
Rain.
Purple
Newmarket
Rain.
North. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, we got to close.
Please.
It's almost
Hey,
guys.
look,
Thanks,
Yeah,
guys.
bring me home, man. I
All
might have to
right,
come back.
appreciate
Appreciate
you guys.
y'all.
Look out for me, Flea.
Take
All
us
right,
out,
Mark.
Rusty.
Be home soon, please.
out.
Okay, Mark.
Gotcha.
We are out.
Hey, we
Hey,
gotta get
guys.
together.
God
Whatever.
bless.